Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everybody watching. We're back here with wufreacts. My name is Woof,
And my name is abillifree.
and today we're here with our mutual friend, Erika. Erika is a cultural affairs specialist. She's an amazing interpreter from Mongolian to English. I once gave a live speech in Mongolia, and she was like interpreting, not translating, interpreting. And Mongolian is like this beautiful, complicated language. And I don't know how she does what she does, and she's amazing. She's a dancer, and she's based out of Ulaanbaatar, Mongolia, or better known as UB, as the cool kids call it, right?
Right.
So yeah, so welcome to Wolf Reacts, Erika.
Thank you. Thank you, Billi, for having me.
So today we're watching the last song of the season 15 of Coke Studio series. The song is called Mehmaan. 3, 2, 1, play.
Coke Studio, season 15.
Yatırnıyışı asime geçti ko Tesa bana meket tesire manzet kilomina Yatırnıyışı asime geçti ko Tesa bana meket tesire manzet kilomina Yatır Mehmaan हूँ तेरा सामान नहीं सालों में पिरो के राहतों को खो के बीते हुए आंसुओं की यारियां समो के अजब कहानियों की मैं हमरा ढूंढूं चाहे जितना भी अपने जहां में मिलूंगी कहाँ मैं तो हूँ आसमां में चली चली मैं हमरा Yatırıyışı asime geçti ko Tesa bana meket tesire manzet kilomina छोटी छोटी ख्वाहिशें गुनगुनाती हैं सजाती हैं ये दुनिया बरगुबार के आंगन में मुस्कुराती है गुल खिलाती है ये दुनिया हैरतों की नगरी ये दुनिया ये दुनिया सालों में पिरो के राहतों को खो के बीते हुए आंसुओं की यारियां समो के अजब कहानियों की मैं हमरा ढूंढो चाहे जितना भी अपने जहां में मिलूंगी कहाँ मैं तो हूँ आसमां में चली चली मैं हमरा हमरा
भी तो रास्ते कई हैं दिल की नजर में सब ही हम ही हैं तुम भी हम ही हो हम भी तुम ही हैं दिल की नजर में सब ही हम ही हैं चाहतों के भी रास्ते कई चुन लो कोई चाहतों के भी रास्ते कई चुन लो कोई सब ही हम हैं रास्ते कई सब ही हम हैं सब ही हम चाहती हैं रास्ते चाहतों के भी रास्ते कई सब ही हम हैं तुम भी हम ही हो हम भी तुम ही हैं
That was Mehmaan, translates into guest in Urdu. The language is in Urdu, except the first language. So I looked into it. The the kid, Nizam, barely speaks an endangered Indo-Aryan language spoken by 150,000 people. It could be a Germanic language as well, but it's like super remote. It's from like it's from all three of these people are from the mountains, right? Mountain regions. He is from like some super like isolated community called a Torwali community, and they speak their own language, and that's why there was no translation there. It's like mysterious on purpose.
Yeah, I noticed that.
The older woman, she has an Asiatic sort of origin. Those people have like an Asiatic, like Turkic, Central Asian background, kind of like me. And the young woman, I think she's also from the mountains too. I just don't know her background, but she's also from that area. So they're all from that area, you know.
Is that northern Pakistan or
Northern
where are
Pakistan,
they
yeah,
situated?
yeah.
Okay.
So northern Pakistan, I think specifically the Gilgit area, that's what it's known as, and I don't know if the other two are from that area, but they're from different parts of that area. Northern Pakistan contains like 14 of the top 20 peaks in the world, so it's a very, very, very remote area. Like it's not something you can just wander into. It's very high altitude, and you know, here I have a little allegory here. Shangri-La is a fictional piece and described in 1933 novel Lost Horizon by the English author James Hilton. Hilton portrays Shangri-La as a mystical, harmonious valley, gently guided from whatever, enclosed in the western end of the Kunlun Mountains, supposedly. Shangri-La has become synonymous with an earthly paradise, particularly a mythical Himalayan utopia, an enduringly happy land isolated from the world. So people think that this author, he actually stumbled upon the Chinese-Pakistani border back in the day before these countries existed. And this is the area he ended up in. Right? It still looks, if you Google Gilgit, the meadows look like that, like they're pristine, there's just beautiful, right? So and this also, like this kid, the first guy, he lives in a meadow above the most remote village that there is. So like he doesn't come down unless he needs something, so he doesn't need anything else. It's like he's very interesting. Like I just thought it was very interesting after doing some research. And And yeah, and he speaks this language. He doesn't even speak any other local languages other than that. So anyway, yeah. And I think the video is interesting because it's an ode to the region's pagan and Buddhist past, mostly
Mm.
animist, specifically an animist past, because most of these people in the region, native people that live there. And I think Nizam is one of the indigenous folks that have been there forever. Uh, they were animist before the advent of Islam, before the advent of Buddhism or Hinduism, even. This is pre 5,000 years, right? So
Wow.
the animals in there, and they're sort of like I feel like it's alluding to that sort of.
There's the mammoth reference.
I think mammoths were like native to like those regions, the high desert regions.
Yeah.
I think it's possible this was all part of it, so
That makes way more sense now because I'm like, well, what is this mammoth doing? Like, even if it was like native to that like area, I'm like, okay, well, where's the connection to this song and where's the connection to these musicians? And so I think thank you for giving us that context because now it makes so much more sense. Like there is this idea of like a fairy tale world, and that's definitely there. But there, for me, understanding Coke Studios' mission of cultural preservation and really showcasing the diversity of Pakistan throughout the country, that is very meaningful. That mammoth is chilling and having hummingbirds and butterflies land on its tusk.
I think it also has to do with like old religious connotation of paganism as well.
Yeah.
People will disagree with me, but I strongly feel like that's what the director was going for.
Mm-hmm.
People don't like to admit it, but people, most of us had pagan past. Humanity has a pagan animist past. Those were the first gods. Nature was the first god. Sun, nature, animals.
Yeah, so this is the first time I'm being exposed to this type of music. And regardless, like it was just very pleasant to listen to, it had like lots of charm in it. And I can't like not listen. And the words, it's good that they have English translations, so you can really feel what the singers are trying to say. And hearing the backstory and stuff, I mean, it's hard to imagine, like they're really good musicians, I think, right? Like the beats and everything sounds really rich. And despite like how young they are, like the quality is really good. And having a little bit of dance background, I do dance yoga a bit. This is exactly the type of music that's like perfect for such kind of classes, and it speaks to any individual. I think it has that, I don't know what you call it. It has that instinct to connect with whoever is listening to it. I feel like that's the feeling I got for sure. And yeah, I Googled Gilgit and yeah, I can see what, where the connection is. And it's wonderful that they're trying to, preserve such, beautiful language and, the history of it and its story through such cool music. Amazing.
Wonderful. And I resonate with what you're saying as far as like this type of music being able to connect, or you can hear it in classes and things like that. And for me, that to the last verses that they were singing on the song, where it's like love too has many paths, we are one. So both in lyric and in vibration and the sound, we have this intention, I think, of uniting, right? And yoking, right? Which is the meaning of yoga, right? To unite, to rebind.
Definitely has that energy that calls for unity and all togetherness and everything. Yeah. But at the same time, it has that nice beat. So like you don't get bored. You just, want to dance to it a little bit.
Funnily enough, the first part of the song in the Torwali language, I looked it up and there's no translation to this. There's nothing. But I found this random video on YouTube from three dudes that came down from the mountains to record this video. And they were like, we know this song, and this song is sung in our weddings. And it's about a woman asking her mother to talk to her, to tell her about a story of love because she's about to get married herself. So she wants to know about love. She wants to discover love. And it's an ancient song, apparently, sung in this ancient language that only 150,000 people speak. I thought it was interesting they didn't like put captions on it. I guess maybe it would have thrown us all off. It's a wedding song. I don't know.
Definitely did in a wedding setting though.
Yeah.
And yeah, the lyrics, I think it is very grounding too, now you think about it. You're about to get married and, hearing these lyrics, I think will definitely put you at a realistic, I don't know, how'd you call it?
Yeah.
Grounding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to speak about the voices. I think that the curation of these three types of voices is remarkable. Zeb's voice, I'm so glad that they began with her because she's an accomplished singer. She sings in different languages. She sings in Farsi, and my whole body felt a way, like a joyful way, when she began to sing, which is, big props to the audio engineers, but also those dissonant blues chords that she was hitting. I don't know, it just sent something through my body, and I was just floored. So it's a voice that I want you hearing and listening to. There's a lot of even it, with her sort of contrasted with these two younger folks, and they also have very beautiful aspects of their voices, but it gave me fairy godmother energy, crone energy, right? But in this beautiful setting. Nizam, the mystery around the translation of the Torwali, now that you're telling me that this is an old song, right, which is sort of in line with what we've seen from the songs that Cook Studio have when they're not originals, they're usually very old songs that have been in the repertoire and are just redone. But I feel like he's got some overtone singing where he sings, but other areas of the vocal cords are enacted at the same time. So it gives this otherworldly aspect to it, and the intensity, and the purity with which he sings it, with us understanding and knowing where he comes from, right? It's almost like a direct, he's singing the mountains, he's singing the rivers, he's singing the lushness and the greenness of where he comes from, because that connection, both physically but also in a spiritual way, is very he's very close to that. So I felt that even if I couldn't understand the words, and now that I understand it's a wedding song, there's a way to connect that to the overall aspect and concept of the song, but it would be kind of a hard, putting a round peg in a square hole, or vice versa. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they did it, and it creates this air of mystery, especially when you're watching the video. And it also pushes the audience to say, hey, at a certain point, it's not about the literality of the lyrics and the words. It is about the feeling. It is about, again, that direct connection, understand, it's a beyond the words. It's more about the feeling and the vibe that he is conveying. So I thought that was really cool. And Noorima, I think that's how you pronounce it. I really like the Coke Studios addition to her because she's young and it gives this like very pop contemporary feel, which for me creates a lot of energy, particularly in the setting. Her vocals come so easily. And I think that they mentioned in the behind the scenes video that she's also an ice hockey player. She's like a national ice hockey player, which helps her, I think, with breath control, right? But also the confidence to be able to perform in this setting. She seemed very comfortable. She seemed very ethereal. They all did in their own ways, but that young, like fairy vibe was very much coming through with her. I thought the costumes were really cute. I thought the setting was cute. The shots of the instrumentalist was so creative. It's something that in the videos we've done, I haven't seen that before, sort of these side views, like these hidden views. A lot of times the camera is straight on the instrumentalist, or you see them in the background. But this one, they were spotlighted, but from different angles. I thought that was very nice.
Interesting.
And
Yeah.
the lyrics and the setting, the environment made me feel like there are these three beings that are on their own journeys and they're at a rest stop, basically. Like there's a pause in their journey and they are, pontificating on the beauty of the journey and being thankful for this moment of rest before they head on into the next worlds, into the next realms. Very much got that. I thought the pickup of like switch in the song came from the addition of snares. I know in the behind the scenes video, they said, oh, they sort of changed it and they picked it up. There was a slight change in tempo, but I think what happened was that they added all of those snares and that sort of picked up the whole song. And then when the song picked up and now there's all these vocal clouds from all three of the artists, made it even more magical and more ethereal. I thought that the AI, CGI, 3D situation that they had going on was by itself, I thought it was really nice and cute, but it was kind of an abrupt change for me because we have all of the focus on the three musicians, on the three singers, and then we switch to like mammoths and squirrels. And it would have been cool to like set them inside of that world, but also I understand like that's probably like a lot of work. So it's not even a negative thing. It's just a thing that I noticed. So those are my notes for.
I put in Erika, I put in some stuff in the chat. The young woman that she's from a region called Hunza. And it's interesting, like their clothing just reminded me of like the traditional like Mongolian attire that the women wear in Mongolia. I could be wrong, but that's kind of like what it reminded me of. Did you see any like did you feel any Central Asiatic similarities in any of the culture that or the music or maybe the sounds ever? I don't know. Because
yeah, I was just about to add on to what Billi was saying. Especially Zeb's art. I did feel I did feel a connection to some of Mongolian folk songs, traditional songs. You guys might remember long songs in Mongolia. I mean, Mongolia does have mountainous regions, and we're, a wide ranging country. And that feeling tends to reflect a lot on especially the long songs. Yeah. And long songs, if you Google it, you'll see that the lyrics are very short, maybe just 5-6 lines of lyrics, but it can stretch for like No, even minutes
On
sometimes.
and on and on. Hence the
On and
name
on.
of the
And
song
with
song.
engineering these days, you can do whole different kinds of tricks with it, and you can, fusion it up with, hip hop artists or any kind of art, like genre of music, really. And I definitely felt that a little bit and thought, wow, this is really cool. Like if long songs could be, edited like that in, Mongolian, some of the Mongolian music, which local musicians are doing. But what I saw a little bit different was even though what you call it, the music is very different. It's the first time I heard this type of music, like because I learned from you guys that the goal is to preserve this very unique culture and this language. Definitely there was like a feeling of like humbleness and respect, and their effort to pay respect to something much greater. And yes, the younger singers, they did look very confident, very skilled, but at the same time, I loved how they, were very humble in their own art form. I sensed that a little bit. And yeah, the change from the singers to the last part with the CGI stuff was kind of sudden, but there was that gap, right? Like towards the end, I thought, oh, is the song ending? But then they changed up the beat a little bit, and then I was like, oh, it's something different. So this is a different part. So it's like, very interesting. And they changed up the melody a little bit. So
Yeah, they use that doorway when it changed and it's like getting brighter and then okay, now we're in a field, we're in another world now.
yeah, yeah.
The younger people, they're actually not singers. The one guy is just a folk singer that sort of sings at weddings. Is not really an artist per se. I mean, he is, but and then the young girl, she's I think this is her first song. Yeah, I was watching the behind the scenes, and I'm sorry I forgot to send it to you. You can watch it at your leisure, Erika, between the time zones and everything. I just completely that slipped
Oh,
my.
I will definitely save this. This is like in my favorite list already. Thank you for sharing this with
I
me.
think
So melody.
the traditional long song Urtindu, I think they're called
Yeah.
Urtindu. I think the Mughals, they brought them, and this was the area when they entered South Asia. These are the people they encountered. So I could totally see some of that culture being brought, and then it kind of mixed in with the local indigenous culture. And this is kind of like at least that Torwali language, that's kind of like, and that's how they sing. This is his real voice. I thought it was auto-tune. Then like
Really?
yeah, so the behind the scenes shows like raw video of him sort of like serenading random hippies that stumbled upon. It's like a video, and this is how he
That
sings.
was all auto-tune.
That I thought that too, and to be
There's
honest,
good
might be
mixing.
some.
It's good engineering, but the it is natural. They didn't do much to his vocals on this one.
Yeah, yeah,
That's cool.
but
I thought it was really interesting because a lot of our conversations about singing and music and like who's considered an artist is interesting, right? Because the music and the song is so baked into the culture where it's like these people are singing beautifully all the time and there's actually no intention to like make it big or whatever. It's just something that is done at weddings, at gatherings. I don't know if it's an expectation, but it's something that just happens regularly. So it's interesting, like you're like, these people aren't even artists, but like we consider them artists because of the power of of what they do, but they're just like, oh, this is something I do every day, this is something that is usual.
no big deal.
Yeah. they sound like professional singers. I'd be
Exactly.
surprised.
Well, we've
Yeah.
had this discussion before in other episodes. Singing is very much a huge part of culture in most regions in South Asia. Like if you can't sing, you can't be expected to carry on culture forward. You just can't. And that's
Mm.
looked down upon. That's, you know, you
Wow.
got, and if you can't sing, people will literally tell you, and you'll just like get shamed. It's kind of like horse riding in Mongolia. If you can't ride a horse,
Oh,
What are you even
are
doing? Are you even
you're
Mongolian?
lame.
No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly,
yeah.
exactly. Are you even Mongolian? Right?
If you can't do home, like what are you even doing with your
Yeah.
life?
Exactly, exactly.
But I think that's very interesting too in looking at South Asia and looking at the Western world, right? Because I've had this thought as a performer playing to crowds, and they're just like sitting in the chair and they're like, I expect to be entertained. Like it's not participatory. It's not as it can be, but it's not as participatory. But when you go to other parts of the world and other cultures, because it's so baked in, it's like everybody, even if you don't have a great voice, you know the songs, you are dancing to the songs. There is a place for you to participate, not just in a audience and performer role, but everyone is all, right? Which also speaks to the sort of unity in this song, and then the different age ranges that are represented in this particular song, but also just like largely culturally and other places in the world that are not as Western as we
Yeah.
are here. Was Pakistan and the Silk Road run through Pakistan as well? Okay.
The Khyber Pass, which is where all the armies entered the region of India, for lack of a better word, not the country, but the region of what used to be known as India. That's how they entered. The Persians, the Mughals, the Alexander's army, and basically everybody had to enter through that area to come through. That's where the Silk Road winds through.
Yeah.
Only a narrow opening that you can get through from the mountains on foot. So
I think all of these countries along the Silk Road, including Mongolia, I think they could see a little bit of themselves in them already.
sure.
Like the traditional clothing, definitely.
Right?
The Eastern as well as the Western. I think more towards the eastern part of Mongolia, where we border Russia and China.
Yeah.
We have the Ujing ethnic group, and they wear a lot of beads and headgear like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're big on accessories in general. I think being a nomadic culture, that's like one of the main things that they were good at, because we have to carry everything,
Yeah.
have to be minimal, but have to carry everything wherever we go. So lots of things that we can like attach to our bodies, and that includes like for women accessories and
Sure.
so yeah.
We're gonna travel, we're gonna be beautiful.
Yeah. And again, with singing and dancing, it becomes like the main part of celebrations and ceremonies, and so especially on those occasions, I feel like it all comes together.
Well, thank you, Erika, so much for joining us.
Yeah.
I think
Thank
it's
you,
like
guys.
it's like 10:30 in the morning there, and it's 10:30 on the East Coast.
Oh yeah,
And
that's right.
God knows what time it is in Billi's time zone.
There's no time here. Just kidding. I'm with the mammoths right now.
Well, thank you for joining us either way. I know you both have lives.
Thank you.
It was a pleasure having you, and till the next time.